there are multiple what they call layer twos coming now this cycle, and most of them are not layer twos; they are side chains, which is different. And the side chains have been trying to market themselves as layer twos because maybe it's more profitable or it's easier for the hype, because Lightning is the only thing that worked so far. And these layer twos and side chains are using Lightning as the common language.
Are you okay, Francis?
Let's go.
Are you nervous?
A bit.
A little bit, really.
It's a little bit. But it's like a motivational nervous.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like before you play your first game of Chain Duel, you hear the noise, you hear the sounds, you're in the arena, you're about to start playing, and then
The crowd is going wild.
as they always do
It's
at Chain Duels.
the moment that define a life.
This is my segue to say that you created this amazing game called Chain Duel, and that's why I wanted to speak to you, because if people have been at a Bitcoin conference on any of one of 4 continents maybe? You've been on 4 continents now?
We were in Australia, Bitcoin Alive. As
You
well
did
this
Bitcoin
year.
Alive as well? So
Yeah.
you did SatsConf, Bitcoin Alive, Lugano?
Not in person, but they set up the game.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess if you've been to a Bitcoin conference on any of 4 continents, then you might have seen this game called Chain Duel, and you're the person that created it, as well as some other stuff. And that's my segue to explain who are you, Francis? What do you do in Bitcoin? How did you come into Bitcoin in the first place?
Well, those are many questions.
Oh yeah.
Well, if we have to start from the beginning, I discovered Bitcoin the first time it was in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just browsing Tor just for curiosity, no
As-
agenda, nothing.
As you do.
As you do, I guess, in 2012. And I found out that some people were selling stuff for Bitcoin, things.
Okay.
And I got interested because I never heard about it before. I thought if people online are trying to receive this in exchange for a service or a product, it's because it must be worth something. So I immediately turned off Tor and I opened the regular browser and I started researching about Bitcoin. And I had a brand new computer back then, so I just started mining and trying to experiment with it and reading the white paper and exploring Bitcoin talk, trying to... I fell immediately into the rabbit hole.
Right. But presumably if you were on tour in 2012, you already had a techie or a software engineering background,
So
right?
yes, we can start even further back. I grew up always surrounded by computers. My first computer was a 286. It was like a MS-DOS computer. Even before I knew how to write, I was already copying the characters to try to access the games. And then for a while, I was also involved in a business that bought pieces and assembled the computers and sold the parts. So I learned a lot from that.
Wow.
And then I went to university for software engineering, even if I eventually dropped out. And that's when I discovered Bitcoin.
Where did you go to uni? Which one?
In Coimbra.
Coimbra.
University
Oh,
of
lovely
Coimbra.
town. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not very well known, I guess. But when people, well, it is known if you're in Portugal, right? But people don't necessarily come to Portugal and then go to Coimbra.
Not for tourist purposes. I guess most of the people come to Lisbon and Porto, Algarve. But Coimbra is very beautiful. It's a university city, one of the oldest in Europe. And when you go there, you can feel the environment, the energy, everybody's like a student.
Yeah.
So I was there for a couple of years, but I dropped out. At the time, I thought it was not cool to finish a bachelor degree. And I was already kind of aware of some problems that the world was facing with economical and financial issues, like because I'm Portuguese and I grew up in an economy that was not the best. And because I also saw a Zeitgeist when I was I was still young.
Oh.
And Zeitgeist kind of explained the money printing, the loan, the debt. And it kind of explained to me and made me think better, since I was already Portuguese and I already knew something was not benefiting us, at least. When I found the Bitcoin, it kind of resonated in me, even if I didn't have knowledge of markets or how the world system works like in detail. And right now it's much easier to get this information, at least for me, than it was back then.
I've heard Zeitgeist come up quite a few times, and one of my mates at Cointelegraph, or ex-colleagues, but still a friend, he's definitely a Bitcoiner, but he has to keep it a little bit secret because of the nature of Cointelegraph. And he's told me to watch Zeitgeist quite a few times because there's one specific like hour-long episode about just money printing and money creation,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
So Zeitgeist discusses different subjects, but one of them is money printing, yes.
Okay.
And the debt, mostly how banks can create money by loaning and some problems that arise from that. But Zeitgeist never comes up with an answer, with what is the next logical step, what can we do about it. It's more like showing people what is wrong.
Oh, right. Like podcast, basically.
So
All we do is just point out what's wrong.
no,
and
let's
then
try to find some hope here.
Yeah.
And
So Coimbra.
so after I discovered Bitcoin, I immediately got addicted, and I was try to research everything I could, and with my, I guess, limited programming knowledge, but already some. I started mining, and I started trying to, at the time, you had to run your own node in your computer. It was mandatory, or else you couldn't access Bitcoin Core. It was the main wallet, that maybe the only one by then. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
And there was already a lot of FUD that ASICs were coming, and that the market would the mining industry would centralize, and they were trying to push people out of mining, like small miners, like GPU miners, like me at the time.
What was the Portuguese community like back? Did you find people quite quickly?
Not really. I told all my friends about it, and there was a few people back then that already they were aware of it, and the usual stuff. Some people knew it was like to sell drugs or in the dark web or something. But I didn't meet at the time people that were really like involved full time or anything, because after a few months, I was also spending my coins. There was this 3D adventure gambling platform called Dragon Quest, if I'm not mistaken, that you could deposit your Bitcoin and try to multiply it somehow. And I lost a lot of Bitcoin in that 3D environment.
Nice.
And I was still young, and then after a few months of being totally addicted, and my friends were telling me to shut up about it already, I kind of decided to put it aside for a while, and I had some coins and I saved them. But eventually I lost most of it, and I spent other parts. And for a couple of years there, I didn't want to hear about Bitcoin, because I got frustrated every time because the price was going up a lot, and everybody that already knew that I was into Bitcoin for a while would come, hey, hey Francis, do you know Bitcoin is $100, Bitcoin is $300, and I was like, yeah. And it was
because you'd cashed out everything.
Well, I mostly lost it, but I also spent a lot, and
on Dragon Quest.
No, also trading it for some fiat and other, like, consuming. I think I didn't realize the full potential, the full impact. I was aware of the speculation, and that the number go up, and that it's important for the world to have an open alternative.
Yeah.
But I didn't. The narratives that are happening right now, that Bitcoin will be a reserve value for the world, I think I didn't really grasp it at the time.
Okay.
So I was happy to be making some money and using it.
Yeah, especially as a student, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the message from Zeitgeist, and from being, in one of Europe's poorer countries, that a lot in the EU, a lot. It's always there's a lot of sort of anger pointed to, like, Greece, Spain, Portugal, to an extent Ireland as well, particularly during that period. And I guess when you find something that, as the Zeitgeist show explains, you find something that could be an answer to that, but also you're making money at a time when you're a university student. Like, why should I hold on to it? So I totally understand why that's all at play. So how long did it take you to then come round to the idea that, oh shit, this is going to stick around for a while?
So a couple of years later, I started paying attention again.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to get my money back. I wanted to get my coins, and I was aggressively trading and trying to get it back, what I felt I deserved to have, according to my past experience. And it was even worse, because I lost it even more.
No.
But then that's when I decided, and it was good, because all this time I was learning a lot, of course, about international monetary and geopolitics and trading and markets and all these things that I was still learning about. And but then I I came to the conclusion that I wanted to not be in this environment of trading. I didn't, because it's also emotionally very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, no, I have knowledge of software development. I kind of grew up to be a software engineer, and if you I love Bitcoin so much, I will pursue this vertent. And that's when I read Mastering Bitcoin, and I kind of remembered a lot of stuff from back in the day that when I was studying, but also learned a lot of new things. And it gave me also some ideas for projects that I wanted to build, and that's the initial trigger for Chain Duel. Was back then, because there was already some. It was when people start talking about Lightning Network, and reading about it, and there was a small chapter in Mastering Bitcoin about Lightning in the end. And the possibilities made me so excited that I thought I wanted to do something related to this that uses the technology, and kind of pieces falling into place. I thought, let's do a 2-player Snake video game where I insert Lightning on it to make it more competitive, because I thought it would be easy enough to implement project, while I would learn a lot of the skills that I wanted to learn.
Okay.
So this was the initial trigger.
Yeah.
And then around that time, I went to in Lisbon. Kevin from Liana, he organized a conference in Lisbon. It was building on Bitcoin, 2018.
Oh, right. Wait, so Kevin was originally in Lisbon?
Yeah. Yes.
Ah. Because now he's in the Azores.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So he was organizing the meetups and building
Yes,
on Bitcoin.
he had a co-working space, and he was organizing the conference building on Bitcoin.
Wait, did he have the block?
The block. Exactly.
No way. I used to work from there in Lisbon.
Really? You should
and
tell.
then it became really shitcoiny. Yeah.
But now,
You're gonna edit, right?
No, right,
now we are not in the block.
Well,
Yeah.
no. Now it's like Lisbon is like the shitcoin capital of Europe in a way. There's, I mean,
Yes.
we're in a studio which is there's Polygon t-shirts in the corridor, and but yeah, the block used to be there was also Matthias from Pocket Bitcoin. And a few other sort of more hardcore maxis that would still work at the block in like 2021, 2022, and then it became fully like a Web3 space. But I didn't know. So Kevin built that originally.
Exactly. So when Kevin, I'm not sure the story, but eventually Kevin went to Azores and he stopped, I think, working with the block.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2018, when it was the conference in Lisbon, building on Bitcoin, I took this opportunity to come and try to meet more people and try to learn more about the software development side of Bitcoin. And that's when I first met a lot of the Bitcoiners that now I'm proud to call friends. And it really changed my life, this conference. So thank you, Kevin, for organizing it.
And these are mostly Portuguese people, right?
No, not really.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
I was not the only Portuguese person there, but almost.
Yeah. Okay.
It was that's where I met Giacomo, for example, Giacomo Zucco, or there was like No Para making. There was also the presentation of colored coins. It was a nice conference. At the time, I didn't have so much knowledge, and a lot of it went through my head. But from that conference, all the people I met, and because I had interest in Bitcoin and I had some programming skill, this led me to get an internship working for Vulpam Ventures, which maybe you know, Tiero. And they are a Liquid-focused company. Okay. They are implementing Liquid, the Elements protocol, in Golang.
Okay.
So they were a very small team. I think now they are bigger. And they hire me as a kind of trying to be an addition to a small team. So it was my first software development job in a very highly technical field like Bitcoin. And I went straight to implementing Liquid in Golang, which was very interesting, and I learned a lot. It was challenging. And because it was a small team and they were building a lot and very fast, I kind of have to figure it out by myself.
Okay.
But that led me to learn a lot. So it was a very good experience for me. And after the internship was over, I left with a need to learn everything. I wanted to be one of the most knowledgeable people about Bitcoin in the world. That was my goal.
How's that going?
It's much harder than it seems.
Yeah. So at the time, are you in Porto now? Is that home? Is home in Porto or near Porto?
No, it's near Nazaré and Peniche.
Nazaré. Okay.
Yes.
Which is where you're starting a community now.
So around this area, we have the west of Portugal community, and we are trying to build something there. But that will come a bit later in the story.
Okay. Cool. But that's where Tiago Vasconcelos is, right?
Yes.
You're near him? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Because he's one of the first people I met in the Bitcoin community in Portugal. And he was the first person to make me realize that, there's more to this Bitcoin thing than meets the eye.
So initially, I was never looking for Portuguese members of the community.
Okay.
I was always following Twitter and the online discourse, and I didn't even realize there was such a community in Portugal.
Because part of the reason, by the way, that I wanted to speak to you and then speak to other people within the Portuguese community is because I want to do something about Bitcoin in Portugal at some point. And so part of this is also sort of researching, because I've done lots on Bitcoin in Madeira, because we know that there's like a very established Bitcoin community there. But when it comes to Portugal, it's a bit more fractured and it's kind of dispersed. And yet at the same time, there are lots of Portuguese Bitcoiners and international Bitcoiners living in Portugal who are doing really cool stuff, whether it's, yourself or John or Obi or Tiago Vasconcelos, or I don't know, Abjeto I was going to say as well. I didn't know if I can say these names or not. Yeah, Pedro is in Madeira. Oh, he lives in Lisbon, but he goes to Madeira.
That will be part of the story.
Sorry, I'll let you carry on.
No, it's good. So after this experience in the internship in Vulpam, I started applying. There was these cohorts from Chain Duel Labs, and basically they teach all the protocol level, not all, but a lot of the protocol level knowledge required to start contributing to Bitcoin Core or to lower level Bitcoin software. And so at the time I took the I believe it's called onboarding to Bitcoin Core, which is like a kind of a continuation of mastering Bitcoin. It's 6 weeks, and they have a lot of reading material, and people come together in groups and discuss and try to share knowledge. And then there's always a kind of more knowledgeable person, like from Bitcoin Core or something. Chain Duel Labs, they have a lot of people working for them that are contributing to Core. And it comes and kind of, he's not teaching, but he's managing to not let us learn wrong information. So we all discussing. There's kind of questions that everybody has to answer, and there's a person overseeing that the knowledge is correct. So it's a very good program. It's 6 weeks. Afterwards, I also took the onboarding or contributing to Lightning protocol. That's where I learned a lot about Lightning. It forced me to read Mastering Lightning and then to these 6 weeks of intensive protocol development for Lightning. So it gave me my base on Lightning that now working with Chain Duel, I focus more on Lightning. And then I took another couple more. They have also a course about all the information required to contributing directly to Bitcoin Core, like the philosophy of it and how to contribute in a distributed environment. And it's also very interesting.
You went deep on the technicals.
Yes, I really wanted to learn everything. And I was also trying to find a job at the same time in Bitcoin. But it was not coming so easy, so I decided to enroll on a master's degree.
Okay.
Back then, I have just finished a few classes I had left on the bachelor, and I thought, if I want to learn more, if I'm not getting a job in Bitcoin, what should I do this cycle? Let's take a master's degree. Maybe I will learn something interesting, and I did. I think it was very interesting, and I really enjoyed it.
And at that point, you're already measuring your life in terms of cycles. I find that quite interesting. Okay, and so the master's was in something computer science related as well.
Yes, my master was computer science.
Oh, just computer science. Okay.
And it's a very good program because you can choose all the classes.
Is that with the Nova?
No, it was University of Lisbon.
Oh, okay.
So I had some classes that talked about Bitcoin. Also many classes on artificial intelligence and software security. It was mostly these 3 subjects. It was very interesting. I really liked it. But so after I was accepted to the master, and I started my master in September. But on this exact month, Kevin texted me. Hey, Francis, we are doing a conference in Azores. If you'd like to come, we have some extra tickets.
Nice.
Because he knew I was Portuguese and I liked Bitcoin. And I said, of course, I I want to be the most involved possible. I want to learn the most possible. This seems excellent. And I said yes, and I went. And that's when my current Bitcoin journey kind of started to be more...
Well, sort of took shape, right?
Exactly, took more
form,
shape.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's the name of that conference again? The
It's
Azores
the
conference?
BTC Azores Unconference.
Unconference, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Now, I've heard about it quite a few times in
It's very good.
conversation. And also, it's in the Azores, which is just such an amazing part of Portugal.
It's a beautiful place. And it's a small conference. The first year, we were around 70 people, but everybody is super knowledgeable.
Yeah.
People.
It's high level, right? It's a techie conference.
It's very core, and people that are building very technical projects. And it was an opportunity to learn a lot, but also to meet a lot of Bitcoiners. That I guess it was something that was missing in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that unconference, I met a lot of people, and we kind of built a small community. And that led me to both the topics that I think you invited me here to discuss, which is the adoption in Portugal. That is a project that I'm doing through Bringing Bitcoin, which is a project that I envision with Agilex from Plan B Network, that we met in Azores. And also Chain Duel, that I'm working with Pedro, that I also met in Azores in that conference.
Oh, no way.
So when I told Pedro my idea for a snake, and I already had the code done and it was already in production, but the Lightning was not implemented. But when Pedro saw the game, he immediately envisioned a design, a remodel of the design where he would apply his anatomy of Bitcoin models to make the game more similar to the Bitcoin ethos, more like parallel to everything we believe in, because before the graphics were very, very basic.
Okay.
So both these things came from there.
Okay.
And so for a while I was making a lot, brainstorming, making a lot of video calls with Agilex, that was based in another country. And we came up with this concept that we wanted to organize a music festival that only accepted Lightning as a payment. And it's a place where you would bring your friends instead of it being a conference where you go to learn or to meet other Bitcoiners. It's a place where all the Bitcoiners bring their friends to have fun in a Bitcoin environment.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I remember you talking about it to me. Was it last year or something?
Exactly. So we all met in September 22. And I immediately started cooperating with Agilex with this initiative, and that eventually came to be called Bringing Bitcoin. And I had a meeting with the mayor of the city that we were trying to dynamize. And he loved the idea, and he wanted to support in any way he could, of course, with constraints. But he said he would provide a space, and he would help in any way possible for a city hall. Which led me to start trying to organize the community in Portugal, that I didn't know anybody at the time. And that's where I met. I already was kind of writing Vasconcelos on Twitter, but we never met before.
Okay.
And Abjeto and
Jose.
And Jose, that is also a very active member of the community. And then I started coming also to the meetup in Lisbon, and met John and Obi and other people, and you. But so while I was starting to organize this trying to make a community to organize the event in Portugal, Pedro contacted the Bitcoin magazine, BTC Inc., and he proposed my idea for Bitcoin Miami.
Okay.
And they loved the idea, and they contacted me, and they made a call with me, and it was I was of course surprised, because I had a concept, I had the idea, but they said they would bring me over to Miami and build this arcade machine, and I would just have to bring my vision to life. And of course I was super excited and happy about it. And I started working with Pedro to bring it. So Pedro made all the designs, and I started implementing. And that's when I had a meeting with Oleg from Fulgur.
Yeah.
And he, because I was looking for a job, and in this case, I was looking for a kind of master's degree internship, so I would write my dissertation about it. But Oleg told me, "Oh, your idea seems very interesting, so please bring it to my conference in 3 weeks." And I was like, "Yes, of course, I want to do it, but I'm still not sure how to implement this, and I need time to develop it and polish it." And I said yes, but I was like not sure if I was going to be able to deliver it on time. And then we kind of delayed, but then we kind of rushed, and then we were able to take it to the Tuscany Lightning Summit. So it was the first appearance of Chain Duel. And it was perfect because everybody that attends, this is an invite-only event, only for Lightning professionals. So it was the perfect audience to test a Lightning-activated video game. Because they have enough Lightning knowledge to know how to work with it, but they also have enough software knowledge to understand that when some things were failing in Chain Duel, because of course the software was like 1 week old and it was still full of bugs, they were also software developers that would give me positive, constructive feedback and help me to try to continue it. And that's also when I met Ricky and Laura, and they really liked the game, and they also made a video about it, and they kind of impulsed the first visualizations, like exposure of the game, Chain Duel. And this experience was perfect because afterwards I still had a couple of months to polish the game, to improve it, to take it to Miami.
Okay.
And then I did. I worked a lot with Pedro, many hours to try to make it really like solid. And we took it to Miami, and it was for me it was my first time in the States, and had such a huge conference, and all the Bitcoiners there, even if there's also other things happening there. But I felt proud to be representing Bitcoin and be representing Lightning. And a lot of times when I show how you can interact with Chain Duel through Lightning, many shitcoiners get very impressed that it's so fast, it's instantaneous, and you can send your name attached to the LNURL node, and it shows up on the game instantly. So it kind of educates some people that maybe are not focused on the technology and are not focused on the philosophy. They are more focused on the gains. But by having exposure to these kind of technologies like Lightning, they can understand the superiority and bring them back to Bitcoin. And it already happened a lot with the history of Chain Duel. And then after Miami...
Just at the point on the LNURL code, so... Can you do that with any wallet? So when you,
yes.
Just to set the scene a bit, so when you go to play someone at Chain Duel, there'll be, or if you do a tournament, say you get 8 people to sign up, is it at least 8 people, or?
You can do 4 people, but normally
yeah.
we make 16.
16, okay.
Yeah.
So everyone has to sort of log in with their name, and in order to log in, usually there's a buy-in amount. So you would set the total pot to be, I don't know, 1 million sats or something. So everyone has to, of those 16 people, everyone has to donate. Shit, what's 1 million divided by 16?
Let's not make calculations.
Let's do the round. Let's see the total pot is 16,000. Everyone has to donate 1,000, and then the winner takes that 16,000 home. So when you sign in, it'll be like player 1, and you'd have to scan the QR code of player 1, and that would be the invoice of 1,000, but you'd send it with your name as part of the message. And you could do that on anything from a Phoenix wallet to a wallet of Satoshi to any wallet, right? That's the whole, it's interoperable, right?
That's one of the positive aspects, I think, for Chain Duel. Chain Duel, it's touching many different aspects, I believe. But one of them is the interoperability, the testing, the providing a sandbox for wallets to be tested and used. And that's an interesting story, is that... so when you scan an LNURL has a minimum and a maximum amount, which can be the same. But... some wallets, when you scan, automatically fill in the minimum amount to be the payment amount.
Right, okay.
Others force you to write it or to guess it even. So this is kind of not only bad UX, but it's because the protocol is not well implemented, because the spec mentions this.
Okay, one of Lightning's many problems, right?
Well, this is not Lightning. This is LNURL. It's a separate protocol.
But it is Lightning though, right? It's still part of Lightning?
LNURL is kind of a protocol for... communication between HTTP servers.
Wait, I always understood that the LN of LNURL was Lightning.
Yes, because LNURL was created for nodes to be able to interact, cooperate with each other, without having to directly the users do it.
Okay.
So initially it was created to open channels between different nodes, but then it was mostly used. Now it's mostly used for payment, LNRL Pay, which has the advantage over Lightning that you can reuse, for example, the QR code. In Lightning, invoices are only usable once.
Yeah, one-time things. Yeah.
So with LNRL, you can reuse the same QR code multiple times and always fetches a new Lightning invoice, for example. And also another thing that Lightning cannot do in Bolt 11 is the withdrawal feature that you automatically can request money from another party. And now with Bolt 12, that is already spec'd out, and as more wallets implement Bolt 12, I guess maybe LNRL will be less used. But so the LNRL deposit, pay, and withdrawal is what I use the most for Chain Duel, that they interact with Lightning. This protocol interacts with Lightning for requesting the invoices that are the base, the Bolt 11 specification. Another thing that you were talking is the possibility to send a note attached to the payment in LNURL. Not every wallet implemented this. Some wallets only allowed you to send the money, the Bitcoin, the Satoshis, but not the notes. And then in the Chain Duel, it just shows up at player 1 or player 2 or player 16.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's confusing because people forget, or they have a wallet that... Other wallets, for example, when you scan the QR code, you get a memo saying, for example, Chain Duel tournament, for you to know what you are paying. Some wallets that don't allow you to insert the comment send back the same memo.
Oh, so your name becomes.
But then my LNURL pay is limited to only 10 characters. So if you are using Strike to register for a tournament, your name will be Chain Duel. But then it's a bit confusing because you don't know who is this person.
Okay.
Another time it's just player 1 or player 4 or and for example, one cool thing is that already happened with the Chain Duel is that a Blink wallet, they already changed the code because of Chain Duel.
Oh, really?
To be more compatible with the LNURL protocol and for the interoperability to increase. And if you go on the Git pull request, the commit, they mention Chain Duel. They tagged us on the Git.
That's
so
cool.
It's really cool to have this story.
Yeah.
But also we also give feedback to many wallets that they didn't implement the protocol correctly.
Nice.
Also because we need it for the game, but also because we also consider that Chain Duel, it's important for to give different use cases and to give novel ways for users to test, to use Bitcoin, and not only send from the exchange to the hardware wallet and maybe somebody will inherit one day.
Exactly. I mean, this is, you could just look at Chain Duel and like, oh, it's just a snake game, you know, but it's like, well, yes, and it's also got all this complicated Lightning stuff going on. There's also the gambling element, which is quite fun. You know, the fact that, you know, it's competitive, and then, you know, that money can then be spent. Usually when you play at a conference, people are getting the money that they can then spend immediately on something physical. And you start to imagine, okay, is this what the future of gaming is going to look like, or the future of gambling at gaming events, you know? Because you could...
Maybe competitive wagering.
Competitive wagering.
Gambling is not a good word. It's not the most appropriate.
No, you're right. It is a wager. It's a wager. It's not a gamble.
Because of the skill required to win the match, and particularly now that the competitive level has grown so much and people are really good at the game. Some people. Yeah. And
it's not a bet either.
Maybe we should go back and explain more or less what the game is about, because we jumped on the technicalities.
Sure.
So Chain Duel is a kind of a two-player snake video game where the snakes are chains. So Chain Duel. And normally in Snake, the snake is capturing the little ball, the food. In the Chain Duel is the block reward, the coin base that makes the chain grow. So both players wager some sats before the game starts. And then there's kind of a lightning channel, like a liquidity from both players. And they are competing to see which one is the player that can take all the liquidity for the game to finish.
And this sounds complicated, but actually when you see the game, it makes total sense, and it's all very, very visually explained. Yes. You know what I mean?
The game was made to be simple. Also because there are other Bitcoin games that maybe they are very good, but maybe they didn't get enough adoption because they were too complicated. We are not there yet, maybe. Let's see. Or maybe we are arriving to the point that we are there already, but 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was very different. We try to educate the most in Chain Duel, like the menus are called P2P or the ledger for the high scores or the Merkle tree for the tournaments. And we insert the data of the latest block on the game. And when a new block is mined on Bitcoin, it literally gives an extra Coinbase food on the game and makes a kind of effect that gives awareness to the audience that something happened, that there's an event. And it's very cool because it makes people clap when there's a new block in Bitcoin. People get very excited. Wow, a new Bitcoin block. And it affects the game and there's competition there. In a way, Chain Duel, it became kind of in ancient Rome to go watch the gladiator match. Or we have people that are trying to compete for supremacy, for glory, trying to be the best players in the world. But we also have an entire ecosphere of people that come and they are just watching and clapping and gasping and supporting. Some people don't like to play. They say they are not gamers, but they always sponsor other people to play.
Yeah.
So,
but that's why, streaming is such a big market, and esports streaming as well, right? Like I was actually one of those people growing up where I would actually be happy to watch someone else play. I know it sounds really odd, but
it's very common.
Yeah, and I've still got mates that they'll be watching the latest esports games on their phones, and they will have never played the game before.
Well,
and I find that amazing. So there's definitely a sort of shared enthusiasm thing about it, shared excitement. And I didn't realize how prolific this thing has become, because I've sort of emceed a few of the Chain Duel tournaments, and it's really interesting to see.
So after Miami, the conference after that, we went to La Paradigme Bitcoin in Switzerland.
Oh yeah.
It was a small activation, but after that we went to Riga, to the Baltic Honey Badger, and that's the first introduction of the tournament mode.
Okay.
So because I already knew some people of the community because of the previous conferences, I invited some of them to make a tournament, and it went very well because it created this atmosphere, this environment where people can watch and have fun, not only be competitive and risking their sats that a lot of people in Bitcoin don't like to do. And from there it snowballed, because the tournament mode kind of gave it another aspect that made it more enticing for people to play. Bigger rewards, but also bigger competition. And from then, now it's a long list of conferences that... actually, that since you mentioned, because after Riga, it was like Amsterdam, and then it was Lugano. That was the first time we made a tournament on stage, and you emceed it beautifully, I might add.
Thanks.
And all this...
I'm just gonna say it's really the most nerdiest, strangest thing I've done to MC a game of people playing effectively Snake for Sats, and I think that people listening as well be like, it's just Snake. It's like, no, it really is quite a different phenomenon.
So the people that never heard of it, the first reaction, it's just a Snake game.
Yeah.
But then they tell me, oh, I used to be very good at Snake, or I played a lot Snake growing up. And that's the first step for them to sit on the couch and play a game, because they already think they are going to be very good.
Yeah.
And it already happened. Some people came to the Chain Duel couch and they wager immediately 100,000 sats without ever played before, because they were sure they were so good at Snake that they were going to win.
Amazing.
And then they double or nothing, which is another feature of the game, that when you lose, you can challenge for a double or nothing.
Okay.
And they lost 300,000 sats in 5 minutes, and then went away.
But it's not gambling, as you say. It's competitive wagering.
Well,
that sounds a lot like gambling to me.
He was warned to not do it, but he wanted.
No, I love it.
And so from that, this was in Madeira, in Bitcoin Atlantis. The game kept growing, and during that, I kept organizing the meetups once a month and orange peeling restaurants and.
But this is in your what's the town called?
So I live nearby. It's called Caldas da Rainha.
Caldas da Rainha.
And right now there's like 3 or 4 restaurants that accept Bitcoin, and also a couple of stores. There's this very cool. It's like a traditional olive oil and cheese place, and you can go there and pay with sats.
Wow.
There's also a French wine place that you can go and pay with sats. There was a Italian house. They make fresh pastas and everything. Not a restaurant, but to take to cook at home.
Okay.
They also accept sats. So people are open.
Yeah.
The reason I have stopped orange peel, didn't stop, but I didn't push harder on the orange peeling the merchants is because we don't really have enough people to go spend sats that often
The issue.
to have so many shops.
Yeah.
Even if we have a good community, for a small city, and it's like 1 hour away from Lisbon, often we have 40 people on the meetups, dinners that we do.
What, are there 40 people at the Caldish? Because I've tried to come to a few of these, but I've
Yeah.
always just been traveling.
Sometimes they are smaller, other times they are bigger.
So you got 40 people
We
coming
got
to the
40
Caldish
once, yes.
dinner.
And then
Was the price really high that week or something?
no, actually, this was all during the bear market, right?
No way. You'll get 100 during the bull market
well,
then.
maybe, hopefully not.
Yeah, I was going to say it's always a bad problem to have that, isn't it?
And then last year, Agilex, he was already working for Plan B Network, and he got the opportunity to organize the after party with Bringing Bitcoin, the after party of adopting Bitcoin in El Salvador. So we collaborated, but it was sponsored by Plan B Network. So Agilex took the more kind of a management role, and I was more responsible for the Lightning activations. And we also, one of Alex's friends, Kiara, she was also part of the team. She got in the team, and she's the producer, trying to make the more practical stuff about realizing the party. And it went very well last year with Satoshi Nakamoto and Valerie Bilove playing and Chain Duel in the back and many Bitcoin trinkets around the venue that we onboarded also to Lightning, a club called Funky in San Salvador. And it went very well, and we continued. This year, other than the meetups, because we also organized in Bitcoin Atlantis, we organized the Noob Day. That was before the conference started. It was just in Portuguese for the locals to come and learn more about Bitcoin before the conference. That was one of the biggest events of the year.
Nice.
But they felt that it was good to try to educate some people before the conference started. And it went very well. The Portuguese community. Also, a person we didn't mention before, Henrique, that helps André Loja a lot in the Free Madeira project initiative. So these people that I already mentioned, the Portuguese community, we all got together to educate the Portuguese normies, the pre-coiners, I guess. And some people already had some knowledge. And we made this kind of dynamic presentations where people could interject and ask questions. And they had this kind of the usual simple doubts that everybody has in the beginning. And I think we were able very well to explain it to them. It was, I think, a very successful event. So from there, we wanted to also do something in the mainland.
Okay.
But then we don't have sponsors, we don't have investment, and it's hard to make everybody work in the same thing. And
I was going to say, how is Chain Duel financing itself up till now?
So let me finish this, but I think that's also relevant to talk. We organized the entire Portuguese community, and we started looking for a venue that we thought it would be good to make something small.
Right.
Maybe 150 people, maybe 200, where we would bring the Bitcoiners and the friends, family, some normies, to educate them and to make a big barbecue. There's this Portuguese guy, he has the meat steak of Portugal called Erva Boca.
Mm-hmm.
And he supplies meat to Bitcoiners, and we wanted him to come and grill for everybody and make kind of a farmer's market. And
does he accept sats currently for
he only
for
accepts
beef?
sats.
Wait, what's his name?
Steve.
Steve.
So people call him Shop Pork.
That's it. Yeah,
Yes,
I do
Shop
know him. Wait,
Yeah.
so he's now selling beef for sats?
Yes.
Okay, I need his
Only
contact after.
grass-fed, no hormones, no
yeah.
vaccines.
Oh, that's awesome. Because I remember 2 years ago him talking about it, and I even attended like a Zoom call in Portuguese, so I understood half of it, where he was explaining it all. So
Yeah, he grilled. We did a Chain Duel party in Madeira after the conference, and he brought over 25 kilos of beef on the flight.
You're kidding.
And he grilled beef for everybody on the. It was a very nice day.
But it's good meat as well, right?
Like I'm not an expert, but apparently it's the best.
Okay.
So I recommend.
Wicked.
So we all got together, and the Portuguese community wanted to do this day in this summer, but then the prices for the venue, it was too high, and we were not able to organize it. We would love to have some support from the international community to try to make Portugal, not only Madeira but the mainland, bigger, more adoption, more education. That's what we are doing here already. We have a very good, very competent community here, but we don't have support. But I also think it's because we are not letting the word out. We are not marketing it well enough. But I think many people here are doing a good job, and with the correct motivations, if we were able to align people's incentives, we could build something very nice here. So in the summers, when we realized that we were not able to organize this event that we were planning, I decided to organize a kind of a boat tour to Berlengas Island. And we all went. It was a very nice day, so we brought shop pork with his meat, and we all went in Berlengas, which is an island in front of Peniche, like 40 minutes by boat. And
hang on, give this island credit. It's like a paradise,
it's
tropical, the
exactly.
most amazing fish.
So it's a natural reserve.
Yeah.
The construction there is very limited, and
there's no roads. You can
there's
only
no
access
cars,
by boat. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very beautiful, and we spent a beautiful day there with clear waters and grilling meat and talking Bitcoin. It was really good. And also Nostr, that people are really into now. After the conference, after the Portuguese Bitcoin Atlantis conference, me and Pedro, we became interested in attending the sovereign engineering cohort in Madeira, organized by Gigi and Pablo, and also André Loja and Martin. And it's a 2 months program that engineers or the designers, people that want to contribute to Nostr or eCash or Bitcoin, they all come for 2 months presentially in Madeira. And we have meetings and brainstorming and demo days, and we hike and make barbecues for 2 months. And it was a very good learning experience for me. I learned a lot about Nostr and about all related technologies, and led us to implement the Nostr mode on Chain Duel, which now implements identity to Chain Duel, and the people can zap to play instead of just using an LNURL QR code. And their identity goes attached. So now you cannot pretend to be Rugsy, the best player in the world, for example. Now you have to have the private key if you want to impersonate him.
Okay.
And people liked it. Also, we also made other implementation, like that people can zap during the game to kind of tip us, not the players yet.
Okay.
But that's Chain Duel is still a leashed project.
Right.
Me and Pedro.
What does that mean?
It means that we purposely haven't scaled it yet.
Okay.
So Chain Duel could be an online game that everybody in the world is playing against each other, and everybody's asking me this for over a year. But since we don't have investments, we don't have any grants, we don't have any support from anybody, we are not affiliated with anybody. And because of the possible complications that it is technologically but also bureaucratically to scale a project like this, we have decided that for now we want Chain Duel to be mostly an educational project, or like just to show the possibilities of Lightning and gaming. So we mostly attend Bitcoin conferences in a controlled environment, or having the game in Bitcoin meetups. Some people that we know personally that ask us if they can display the game there.
Mm-hmm.
So we purposely haven't implemented the online multiplayer version until we know better what it entails, and for that, I would like at least to have a grant that I could dedicate myself full time and not have to concern myself with losing all my sets because for 2 years, me and Pedro have been traveling the world and displaying Chain Duel at every conference. I think every major conference in the world had Chain Duel already. And since you asked before, how does Chain Duel survive? First of all, it's out of pocket. Me and Pedro have to
for 2 years.
We have to survive, of course. We have to eat and we have to sleep somewhere, but also we have to travel to the places and set up the game. And there's
Miami
expenses.
is not cheap.
But that being said, Chain Duel is always invited to go to conferences. All the conferences invited me personally, and they covered my costs of flights and hotels, and they give me the space out of for free without an extra charge, because they agree that Chain Duel provides a value for the conference and for the Bitcoin ecosystem that it cannot be overlooked. It needs to, and since we don't have any other support, Chain Duel is truly a decentralized project, and it only exists because all the support of the conferences, but also all the support of the community, of all the people that recommended me to other people and recommended the game to other conferences, and keep inviting me and keep having me, and also the Bitcoin companies that found an opportunity to expose their brand through Chain Duel, and they provide us bigger prize monies for the winners of the tournament.
So they would sponsor you by giving you more sats, as long as you say it brought to you by X.
Exactly. So a big supporter of the game, other than the conferences. I have to say, in conferences, I have to say, Bitcoin Magazine, they are one of the biggest supporters, because if it was not for them, that's how the game started. But also they already took me to Nashville and to Amsterdam twice.
Whoa, okay.
And we have an arcade in the States, and we also have an arcade that was built by the Node Runners community, but that it was displayed in Amsterdam. So they are big supporters of the game, so I can only say good things about them.
Do you want me to say the bad things then?
Well, maybe in another
No,
podcast.
I'm kidding.
But also all the other conferences that supported me and understood the premise and supported the game to keep the development and keep us interested and excited and motivated to keep developing it.
Yeah.
And then the companies like Beatbox that's sponsored the game multiple times, but also Relay and partnerships that we have, such as having the game in the parties that we organize with Bringing Bitcoin, or having the game displayed in the cinema screen in the Bitcoin Film Fest, or even the halving party in Greece. So smaller events that also support the game somehow.
Okay.
So I have to thank all these people, all these companies, all these initiatives, because without them the game would not exist. But also all the wallets that they are excited to have a way to test their product, and they give me positive reinsurance, like don't worry, we will change the code, we are going to make it compatible. And so in a way, I think Chain Duel is pleasing everybody. The conferences, the Bitcoiners, the audiences, the players, and myself and Pedro, of course.
It's not pleasing your wallets just yet, though.
It's not pleasing our wallets, no. But as I'm bringing Bitcoin with Agilex, and we also did the after party that again Agilex took a more responsibility role because he's involved with the Plan B network. But we also just organized last week the after party of adopting Bitcoin, and it was a huge success. Congratulations to Chiara and Agilex. I was just responsible for some lightning activations, that also Chain Duel and other stuff that I think went well. We had a Zap lamp and some lightning message board, and we also developed a Nostr application, me and Pedro. So during the time on the software engineering cohort, we developed an application, a Nostr application called PubPay.
Okay.
Which is kind of a Nostr splitwise or a payments application based on Nostr.
I mean, the way I've seen it appear is you would see a post on Nostr or a note, and then someone would say, help me eat out for lunch, or what coffee should I get? And there'd be a slider, and you could move the slider to 10 sats to 1,000 sats
so
to 20,000 sats.
We tried to create a graphical interface to transform zaps not only to be a form of like, but to be a payment. And by that, we are giving it, for example, amounts that you can choose a variable amount, like you said, that there's like a scroller, or a fixed amount that there's just a pay button. And the person, when he's on the note, he can just press pay, and it instantly zaps the note with that amount. And the identity goes associated with the payment.
Okay.
So it's a public social network for payments.
Right, okay.
and it can be used, for example, for charity, to raise funds, or a very common situation is in a Bitcoin conference, somebody pays for lunch, and then on PubPay I can request 4 people to send me 20,000 sats, and it creates the interface where 4 people are allowed to press pay, and afterwards it blocks the pay button, and it's just so it permanently displays the people, that these 4 people, while all the other smaller zaps are like on the bottom, much smaller.
Okay.
And so this is one of our projects, and it had some traction, not a huge traction, but the Nostr people that are interested in Nostr, they noticed it and they commented on it. And more now for this bringing Bitcoin party, that the after party from adopting Bitcoin, me and Pedro were like in charge of developing a Nostr application that brings value for artists.
Okay.
And in this case, we wanted people to be zapping. We were cooperating with Roger 9000. He's a Bitcoin performer, musician, artist in general, because he also makes the projections, the videos that go behind him, and he writes the lyrics and he performs them. And we cooperated with them. We invited them to the party to perform, while we would have the application in front of him, and everybody would be zapping during the performance. So it's a screen with a QR code, and it shows the note, the post on Nostr. It's a kind one, and it says zap my performance on the Plan B network after party adopting Bitcoin 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody's zapping, but it's kind of a podium or a leaderboard.
Right.
More of a podium, that we are giving more proeminency to the people that pay the most.
Oh, I see.
And then people are competing to have the name and a phrase, because in Nostr, when you send a zap, you can also attach a phrase, a sentence. So you can send a message that everybody in the audience will see, while giving all the tips to the performer.
Okay.
And so this was our concept that we developed, and it worked very well. Roger really liked it, because he got, in 2 concerts, he got like 500,000 sats.
No way.
Yes. Of course, we were also enticing the audience to use our app, and it was a very synergetic night performance, I guess, from us and Roger.
One of the few times I've heard people actually making money with value for value.
It worked very well,
Yeah,
and it's documented on Nostr and on Twitter. It's really nice. And the day after that, we threw it starts to become more common, one of the Chain Duel barbecues in El Salvador, and we invited all the Bitcoin friends, and the guy of the Beef Back Better initiative brought a cow, and he was sawing it in front of everybody while they were grilling it.
Wow.
It was a performance as well.
Okay.
But we got this El Salvadorian lady that we onboarded on Lightning and Nostr, and she was preparing all the food for us, and everybody was zapping her using the same application.
Oh, I see.
Everybody was zapping her for the service.
The tip. Yeah.
It's also a performance. She was cooking for all of us live in front of everybody, and kind of cleaning and serving. It's also a performance. And everybody tipped her, and she got 150,000 sats.
Okay.
Plus, of course, the payment that we agree with her.
And it was 4 or 5 weeks ago, so now it's...
No, it was 10 days ago, right?
Oh, right.
El Salvador.
I was hoping it was 4 weeks ago, so that it was 60K and now it's 95K
she's in profit. She's very happy. If you go to El Salvador and you want somebody you can trust to cook for you or shop or organize stuff, everything you might need, you can contact Vicky. She's on Nostr. But you can also contact me and ask for her information.
Of course.
She told me that she wants to dedicate her entire family to be a Bitcoin family.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm going to El Salvador in January, so yes, please.
Yes,
Vicky is the best. Are you going for the Plan B conference there?
I still don't know.
Okay.
Of course, because in Lugano, both times, it was probably Chain Duel's biggest success, that stage tournament, and most of the more competitive Chain Duel players go to Lugano. So the level of, the number of games and the level of competition was very high. It's one of the places where the magic really happened.
Yeah.
So I will be open to go to, of course, to Plan B, another event organized by the same people.
And then one thing that's still left in the air is the music festival idea. So what happened to it? Or is it still going ahead?
So both me and AgilX are very excited to continue the project.
Okay.
And now he's already planning leading the efforts to organize the after party of Lugano in January. Of Plan B forum in January in El Salvador.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sure it's going to be epic, guys. That you should attend. And all of this is more experience for us and keeping the ball going.
Yeah.
And also my work with the Portuguese community that now I feel like I know a few people here that could help and could collaborate. And we are still trying to find the monetary support that allows us to make something decent, or else me personally, I don't want people to burn out to try to make an event that is bigger than they can chew without any remuneration, without any support.
Yeah.
Because that's how projects fail or turn out not in a way that we expect. So I believe we are doing a good job, and we are continuing this job, and hopefully more opportunities will come, and this will lead us to organize more events. As Chain Duel is also kind of an event,
Yeah. Yeah.
a cultural event in Bitcoin that people gather around to watch other people use Bitcoin and earn Bitcoin and cheer for Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And just like PubPay, it's a project to bring adoption to Bitcoin and to bring more people to Bitcoin. And this, I think, we are kind of finding our way through the projects and the initiatives we are developing.
Okay.
And it's the path is kind of telling us what is more not only necessary, but what we good at.
Yeah. Okay. So does that mean that next summer this might be?
It's possible.
An event? Okay.
It's possible.
And the idea is to get genuine, known artists to play at an event, and then everything at this event will be Lightning only.
Yes.
And why this is interesting, at least for me in Portugal, is that a lot of music events you go to here, they are like wristbands only, but on the wristband, you've probably been to some of these, right? You go and there'll be a QR code on the wristband.
No,
and
it's
you have to
NFC.
Yeah, it's NFC. So you scan the QR code with your phone, then you log in with like I use a fake email address, but you log in and then you put some money on your wristband.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, 20 euros or 30 euros, and then you go and pay.
This was something that we talked a lot at the time.
But just so that people understand, so when you go to pay, you just tap with your wristband to pay. But the annoying thing is at the end of the festival, you always have €6 or €7 on your wristband. I've always found it impossible to get that money back.
Yeah, exactly.
And on top of that, the whole sort of UX thing, it's basically Lightning, Like the idea of topping up a wristband, but Lightning reduces all those other steps and is no KYC, whereas this thing is supposed to be actually quite KYC'd. So Portugal's music scene, Portugal's festival scene is already kind of prompted to be able to do a Lightning thing, because people are used to it. I don't know when this came in Portugal, but I think it's in the last like 2 or 3 years. I feel like I went to Nossa Live this summer, and I've been to a few other like random music events. I forget what they're called. Some like the dance events like in like Évora and stuff. And it's just normal now that, I'm going to have to get this stupid wristband. You're going to have to load it up with money. Even Night Stories in Lisbon, you have to do the same thing. And people are just like, oh, well, that's how it is. Even the Euros World Cup thing, it was all wristbanded. I think it's crap UX. I don't know why people have to do it, but it's just become the thing.
Other than, so there's the problem that by the end of the event, people have to kind of find a way to get their money back. Yeah. And if it's 100,000 people and everybody leaves €5, it's a lot of money for this company. But also because they know your identity, many festivals you have to give your ID to buy the ticket. Like in Portugal, one of the most supposed to be libertarian music festivals called Boom Festival.
Yeah.
But everybody has to KIC themselves, and everybody has a wristband attached to their identity.
Yeah.
So all their consumptions are tracked and sold, most likely sold to third parties for marketing or other purposes. So if you have only a Lightning wallet, or you have a NFC wristband that is not associated to your identity, payments become much more private. And also it becomes interoperable with any other event. It doesn't have to be that only event. You have sats in your wallet, you have sats in your wristband. Yeah, you can spend them in the next festival. It's not a you don't. They don't give you a 2-week limit to withdraw the money because before they take it.
Yeah, it's a CBDC.
Unless it's a centralized Lightning software, which maybe people would do it for the easiness.
Yeah, but my point is that I think that Portugal would be a good place to pilot this kind of stuff because of this cultural acceptance of doing this weird payment stuff when you go to a music event or a festival or this sort of walled area, you know? So I really like the idea, but yeah, do you think realistically?
We spent like 1 year brainstorming ideas, trying to make it big. Before we kind of, it was not a year, it was like a bit less, but before we started doing smaller events to get the experience and the connections required to scale it and to increase it to our initial ambitions that maybe were out of excitement, the initial, you know how it is. So right now, and this year I delivered my master's dissertation in September about Chain Duel.
Wow.
How to build a Lightning application, all the knowledge required for Bitcoin, Lightning, and LNURL, and then my personal experience developing the game and the protocol behind it, and also the practical experience with Chain Duel with the conferences. So I thought it was a very interesting document that I delivered. Hopefully to orange pill a few of the professors. And now, yes, I'm continuing to work in Chain Duel. We want to implement the Noster mode in the tournament Noster mode, and I really like the competitive scenario of Chain Duel, and I want to implement a teams mode.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the next steps as well. And of course, the online multiplayer version, it's something that I'm also eager to implement because I would like to play with other people that are not physically next to me.
Yeah.
But for now, we are still trying to assess what are the best next steps in this for this to happen. And yes, we are also organizing these barbecues with Chain Duel and at conferences. It's going very well. The events with Bringing Bitcoin and PubPay Live, the new value for value application we have. And if I don't get some support soon for Chain Duel or for PubPay, either if it's a grant or investment, we'll see. If we don't want to have the shackles of investment, because we believe Chain Duel and PubPay are very creative projects, and one of the reasons it's because we are not affiliated. We don't have to sell the product. We can do it for the love, for the passion, and for the propagation of Bitcoin, not for the number of users, number of daily games. So that's one of the advantages of right now. We are scaling very, very slowly.
Okay.
And
so you're keeping very, very busy.
Yes, we just came from SatsConf and adopting.
Wow.
Traveling a lot.
But I wanted to ask about, so for someone that spends a lot of his life in the world of Lightning, and given that Lightning does work most of the time, it still has lots of issues, what's your sort of outlook on the future of the Lightning network, particularly when it comes to its main purpose, which is payments, right? Like how do you sort of survey the land of Lightning right now?
So I can talk first about my personal experience, which is I'm possibly one of the people in the world that has seen more people make Lightning payments from different places.
Okay.
Because everybody comes to the Chain Duel booth and I ask them, what's your Lightning wallet? And I teach them how to interact with the game. So I'm right next to them. I'm seeing what software are they using, even the number of sats they have. So I have a very close... it happens very closely, the deposit of the sats with me and the users. And this happens sometimes hundreds of times a day during the conferences.
Right.
And for example, one of my conclusions is that geography matters a lot. wherever you go, there's a wallet that is that the majority of people use, for
Interesting.
example.
Okay.
And it's something that maybe I haven't thought before about it.
Okay, so
but-
I'm going to guess that El Salvador is Blink.
In El Salvador, a lot of people use Blink.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of locals use Chivo.
Chivo, yeah, of course.
And then you have to educate them how to use Chivo because it's not simple. They didn't make it easy. Or educate them on how to install Blink and pass the sats
okay.
from one to the other.
I reckon Portugal's quite into Phoenix. I reckon there's a lot of Phoenix users.
In Europe, is everything is open. There's no limitations yet. It depending in Europe, you can really see the degree of knowledge of the person when they play Chain Duel, because they can use Vault of Satoshi, but they can use Phoenix, or they can use Zeus connected to their own node.
Right.
And for some people, this is really a matter of pride. They don't want to use Vault of Satoshi. They don't even want to use Phoenix, because Phoenix is a one-channel LSP service that also privacy is a bit compromised when you use it. And trustlessness. So many people insist that they only want to use their own node connected to Zeus or other wallet that allows it, which sometimes leads to problems because they don't have enough liquidity, or they are not able to open, Zeus is not able to connect to the node, or so there's always struggles. While with Vault of Satoshi, there's never struggles. People scan, they press the button, and it works immediately all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, I have my own node. Of course, I also have Zeus and Phoenix, and I have probably more than 10 wallets on my phone. And I I mostly use Vault of Satoshi for when I'm going to register or withdrawing from Chain Duel, just because I know that for a no-coiner, it's more impressive to see it instantly happening than to have to explain the 10 reasons why it didn't happen instantly.
That's exactly my point of view as well, particularly when filming stuff. You know, you're like, I want it to work every time.
Yeah,
but it's custodial and blah, blah, blah. And yeah.
So for small amounts, I think it's fine. And that's what I tell to to the merchants I onboard in Caldas, is that for small amounts it's fine. But when I know they start to have a bigger amount, I go there, I try to make them buy a Bitbox or something. And I teach them how to pass the funds to Bitbox and about the 12 words, 24 words.
Oh, okay. So you don't use Swiss Bitcoin Pay, for example? Because Swiss Bitcoin Pay you can use with, say, Blue Wallet or with a Lightning LNURL, and it swipes there at the end of every night. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes.
Solution.
That's a good solution. I never used it.
Okay.
Because I have the app, but since you have to register to use it, I kind of it put me off of it. I never really tried it.
You don't have to. I think it's just an email address.
Yeah,
right?
I guess it's just an email, but it was enough for me to not
really?
want it.
Man, I honestly I see it a lot in Central Europe, in Switzerland, Germany, France. It's really widespread, and it's amazing because waiters, like a new waiter joins the restaurant, they've got their own phone. All they have to do is scan the original waiter's wallet, and then they can also receive, because it all just zaps to the same wallet. Yeah. And then if it's a Lightning transaction, it goes instantly to the owner's wallet. And then if it's an on-chain transaction at midnight that night, it sweeps. It's a really, really clever, slick solution.
Let me just correct you, please. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A Zap. Yeah. Many people are using Zap as payment right now, but a Zap is a payment with with two signatures.
Okay.
That is propagated on the Nostr network.
Yeah.
So a Zap as a payment and two signatures.
Oh, sorry. No, I mean, it's just, I don't mean zapping. I mean like paying.
A Lightning payment.
Yeah, it's all it's got nothing to do with Nostr.
And the reason I'm telling you this is because I see many people now just using the word Zap as instead of Lightning payment.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where the industry is going. So maybe I shouldn't say anything. But there's a difference in the concept. And we use both in Chain Duel, so that's why I have to differentiate, or else people don't know which one they are doing.
Yeah, no, I was referring definitely to Lightning payments. They're paying in Lightning.
So Wallet of Satoshi also has I believe it's called Wallet of Satoshi Posh.
Yeah.
That it's also for the waiters, and the money goes only to the manager.
Yeah.
So it was smart of them,
Mm-hmm.
And they are probably the biggest Lightning company wallet in the world.
And yet no one knows who they are.
They don't go to many conferences, but if they want to sponsor Chain Duel, most of my users use Wallet of Satoshi.
True. Yeah, you see that all the time.
For example, in Brazil, most of the people were using BIPA wallets, which I
really?
never tried before,
Okay.
and it's an exchange
Oh.
or like a broker. I'm not sure. They sell Bitcoin and they allow users to withdraw it on Lightning, and they also have LNURL. So people were playing Chain Duel straight from the exchange, I guess.
That's interesting.
And you can see that all the communities have different little quirks. For example, in Brazil, everybody was asking, "Do you have Instagram?" And I have Twitter or I have X. While in the States, in Nashville, everybody was asking, "Do you have LinkedIn?" And I have X or Telegram. I don't have LinkedIn. And not only so you see different geographical zones have different mentalities, and they use different softwares. And even if we are all into Bitcoin, there's slightly different ways of embracing this technology. And you see it a lot with Lightning wallets, yes. And for us, it's fun because it's another wallet for us to test to see if it's really compatible with LNURL and if they implemented the protocol to the spec correctly. And another opportunity for us to give feedback and try to make the whole industry move forward together. Because there's a lot of competition, and people sometimes they are focusing on pushing their own projects, but they forget slightly that we are all in this together. We are all here for the love of Bitcoin. So that's one of the things that me and Pedro, we are proud of Chain Duel, is that we are going to every conference, even if they are not exactly partnering with each other. We are working with every wallet, even if they don't want to collaborate. And that, for example, I applied for a grant with OpenSats, and they answered that sorry, we have too much people interested, and we are not part of the chosen ones, but because we don't know where to insert you in each category. Should we insert Chain Duel? Is it educational? Is it development of the protocol? Is it adoption? Yes, it's everything. And that's on purpose. That's by design. We want to keep growing in every direction, like water. And we implemented Noster, we want to implement Bolt 12. Or we can implement now from John Carvalho from Synergy PubKey. And that is another identity layer.
Okay.
That uses cryptography, probably key cryptography for identity, like Noster.
So are you worried at all about the future of Lightning?
That was your question before, that I was going to tell you. Like, there are multiple, what they call layer 2s coming now, this cycle. And most of them are not layer 2s, they are side chains, which is different. And side chains have been trying to market themselves as layer 2s because maybe it's more profitable or it's easier for the hype, because Lightning is the only thing that worked so far. And these layer 2s and side chains are using Lightning as the common language. So you see that Liquid now, you can receive Lightning payments and it automatically swaps into Liquid, and then you save it in Liquid, and then when you want to spend Lightning, you send your Liquid and it swaps to Lightning with Aqua, for example.
Yeah.
And I'm not very familiarized with Arc, but I saw that Arc is also using Lightning as a way to communicate with Liquid and with other sidechains and second layers. So Lightning, as Roy from Breeze beautifully said it, it's becoming the Frank language of Bitcoin.
Okay.
That exchanges can use it to communicate with each other, to send sats. If they have an open channel, it's very easy for them to send sats for free to make their arbitrage.
I mean, it's kind of what John Carvalho was saying earlier. He was saying that it's becoming more business to business, and what you're describing it as being the lingua franca of Bitcoin is that it is more businesses communicating, or protocols communicating, or layers communicating with Lightning, which deviates from what it was originally. Like the white paper was, it's a peer-to-peer, payments thing.
So I've noticed in the last year, Lightning is becoming slightly more expensive. for the routing. It's not expensive. It's not prohibitive yet,
No.
but it's a bit more expensive. You don't make zero SAT payments so often anymore.
Okay.
And for me, that I'm always testing with with Chain Duel and with PubPay, that our business model is spending money. So we are always sending payments and receiving as a test, and we are always losing money with the fees. So, but it's fun. It's part of the game, I guess.
Okay.
And a lot of people are getting into eCash.
Yeah.
To be maybe a lot of people. Not maybe, a lot of people already told me that they believe in the future the UTXOs are going to be completely prohibitive because of the mining fees. And even Lightning is going to be for maybe rich people. And that eCash is going to be how plebs transfer value amongst each other. That's what some people believe.
This is like 50 years away, right? Not
who
10
knows?
or 20.
With Bitcoin, things go fast. Other times they go slow. So who knows?
Okay.
But there's already, like I forgot to mention before, eCash is also using Lightning as the communication layer.
I see. Yeah.
So you send Lightning to a eCash wallet, and it automatically mints the eCash and gives the user. And that was my alternative. So in the States, they don't have Vault of Satoshi, they don't have Phoenix, and a lot of people in the States see Bitcoin only as an investment. Maybe perhaps
true. Yeah.
I didn't make the statistics, but. And I was recommending people to use Minibits to play Chain Duel, which is an eCash wallet.
Oh.
But since it's compatible with LNURL and it allows you to receive and withdraw Lightning sats, even if it's an eCash wallet, it was the easiest thing I had to recommend to people.
And so they could go on the App Store, download Minibits, and then withdraw Lightning sats from River or. Does Swan have Lightning? Probably does, right? It should do.
I think so.
Or Strike definitely does.
Yeah,
so
Strike.
Could,
Many people play with Strike in the States.
Oh, they play with Strike. Oh, so log in using the Strike wallet.
Yes, but Strike doesn't let you send the comment.
Ah, okay.
On
so you just play
LNURL.
One or your Chain Duel.
Yes.
Okay.
But since Strike is also an exchange, but also a Lightning wallet, a lot of people play Chain Duel with Strike.
Okay.
In the States, but also using Minibits or Fedimint. They have a very good app that they also is not only a Lightning and eCash wallet, but is also a Nostr signer. So it was one of the best ways for me to test PubPay while I was developing, and even to this day.
Okay. Speaking to Obi next week, so I'll bring that up.
It's a very good wallet, and I already recommended other wallets to follow a similar protocol that they implement Nostr on the wallet as well. I think wallet has different possibilities for Lightning wallets, but Fedi is a full-fledged signer, so you can access any Nostr wallets, and you have an npub, yes, and sec, sorry, and that you can sign events and you can propagate them using any kind of Nostr app.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So it's all the entire industry is moving together on chain. They say layer 0 is people, right? Layer 1 Bitcoin, second layer Lightning, eCash, that I'm not extremely technical on it, but I've used it, and other projects like Liquid that I used to work, something related to Liquid, and Arc, and there's other side chains that are coming up, and probably during the next year many will market. But likely for now, Lightning will be how they will all communicate with each other, and with the advances on splicing and Bolt 12, that Phoenix is very advanced, very cutting edge in the implementation of it, and also other wallets. But Bolt 12 works better in nodes, not on custodial wallets.
Okay. And
that's why maybe LNURL is more convenient for now with the wallet Satoshi or with other custodial wallets. So it's very exciting. There's a lot of development. There's many very, very bright, genius people working on the different layers of Bitcoin. And now with all the initiatives like the Brink and OpenSats and Circle, if I'm not mistaken, there's many grants and there's also investment. Many people are investing VCs on other kind of investors on Lightning companies and also on Chain and also eCash.
It feels like a bull run, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All this stuff going on.
Well, I really enjoyed building Chain Duel on the bear market.
Yeah.
Being on El Salvador on the bottom of the bear market was really an amazing experience.
Mm-hmm. Just checking that we hadn't hit 100k during the podcast, and we're okay. We're at 97,200. You know what I mean? We've got to have a beer or do something if it hits 100k.
Yes, everybody was very excited in
El Salvador.
In El Salvador about that we were so close to 100k. It was I guess it was hard for some people, this bear market with the FTX. I to be honest, I didn't feel this bear market. I was already involved with the community and I was not worried about price at any point.
I felt it financially, but it's the first time that I stopped focusing on the fiat price of like my own stack. I started focusing on the number, like the Bitcoin number, you know, like the point, whatever it is. That was what I focused on as opposed to the fiat number. So that for me was like the main learning of this bear market. Like
it's a process to learn this. Yes.
Yeah.
And now let me chill what we are going to do soon. We are organizing 100k party. That hopefully it will be 100k by then. It's 15th of December, the 15th. It's going to be in Porto. One of the members of the Portuguese community has very generously donated a big house for us to...
Oh, that's the house you sent me on Telegram. Yes. Oh, he's donated it because you sent me this random Airbnb, and I was like, "Yeah, nice place, mate. Why are you sending this?"
It's nice, right?
Yeah, it is lovely. It's really nice. I didn't realize. So he's donated that to host the party.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice of him. Great, yeah.
So we have accommodation for a few Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
We are going to have Chain Duel there and Pay Live and
cool.
the Erva Boca, the shop pork meat. He will be grilling for everybody.
Nice.
And we are bringing Roger 9000 to perform for everybody.
Okay, sick.
Hopefully you will be there.
Yeah.
And Obi and other people of the Portuguese community.
Okay, great.
And we want to make it fun. We want to make it to keep developing bringing Bitcoin brands, to keep uniting the Portuguese community, and to keep bringing awareness to the international community of what's going on in Portugal.
Yeah.
We are not only the shitcoin capital of the world. We also have a couple of Bitcoiners here that are trying to push for adoption and for education.
Nice. Yeah.
And I think all my projects kind of fit in together in this ethos of pushing adoption forward, pushing education forward, and bringing people together to live a Bitcoin life. That is something that I was very, very fortunate, and I find myself being very thankful lately to be able to live this life and meet all these very, very bright people and very positive and very excited about building and about the future. And to travel the world to meet these communities. And for example, the Node Runners community in the Bitcoin Amsterdam was
great, aren't they?
Amazing to spend time with them and to see all of them are using their own nodes with Zeus. For example, it was a tournament that most of the people were self-custodial.
Well, they are called Node Runners.
But they walk the walk, right?
They do, yeah.
And then go to El Salvador and go to the graduations of Mi Primer Bitcoin, or even to have an impact on the lives of these people that are learning not only Bitcoin, but all the things that we preach or that we love about having more freedom and having the possibility to live a life that we choose.
Yeah.
So I'm really honored and I'm really proud of what's been happening with Chain Duel and with Pay. And I'm also very thankful to have Pedro as my partner, because he's a workaholic in a good sense, I guess. He loves Bitcoin so much, and we could spend months traveling together just talking about Bitcoin whole day. It's actually a bit crazy, maybe.
I think there are lots of people similar to that, don't worry.
And yes, I'm very thankful. I'm very happy.
I think that is a lovely note to finish on. What do you think? Should we go get a beer?
Let's go get a beer.
Yeah, nice. It's after 5 o'clock. So, muito obrigado, Francis.
Thank you very much, Joe.
That was Francis Mars in Lisbon. Please follow him and his work on Twitter. It's at BTCFrancis, and on Nostr, of course, that's Francis Mars at chainduel.net. Chain Duel should also, hopefully, be coming to a Bitcoin conference near you very soon. I would also like to thank Plan B Network. They're a sponsor of mine, and they're also a fantastic, wonderful resource to learn about Bitcoin for free. Seriously, charges nothing, and you've got all the Bitcoin education and resources that you could need. I would also like to thank Coin Corner, because once you're done learning about Bitcoin on Plan B Network, you're probably going to want to buy some. So check out Coin Corner. It's run by a fantastic team, and their product is great as well. They're Bitcoin only, and they've been on the scene since 2014, so you know they're good. I have been Joe Nakamoto, and if you hit subscribe, I will bring you some more Bitcoin content very soon. Thank you so much.